Asuka's confidence is hollow at the center, yet everyone remembers the red suit. Level 1. Pride. She is always performing. In Dark Souls, Anor Londo is the most beautiful city you will ever find yourself believing you deserve to be in. The architecture is golden. The scale is divine. Everything about it says you made it. You are worthy. You belong here. It is entirely fake. The gods left long ago. What remains is an illusion maintained by a single miracle worker too stubborn or too broken to let the lie die. Asuka's pride is not a delusion. She really is that good. She really did earn that seat. She really did sacrifice things that would have broken most people before they finished grieving them. By the time she arrives on that carrier deck, she is already the best pilot in the world. The tragedy of level 1 is that Asuka is telling the truth, and the truth is not enough. Anor Londo, for all its grandeur, has a weight. You carry it long enough and one day something hits you in exactly the right place. She doesn't know it yet, standing on that carrier deck, hair in the wind, daring the world to impress her. She doesn't know that the 6 levels ahead of her exist. She doesn't know what's coming, but you do. Level 2, performance. You've seen that smile before, not on Asuka, on yourself. The smile you put on when someone walks into the room and suddenly you become a slightly better edited version of who you actually are. In Dark Souls there is a painting, in the fake golden city we visited last time. And if you find the right item, something happens. Being in the room without a role is the most terrifying thing Asuka Langley Soryu has ever considered. Kaji sees it immediately. Reading people is his primary survival skill. He sees underneath the performance and chooses to be kind about it, which is the cruelest possible response for Asuka. She needed him to believe the performance. If he believes it, then the performance is real. If the performance is real, then the person giving the performance is real. If the person is real, then everything she has built, every credential, every victory, every carefully constructed interaction meant something. In the painted world, there is a woman named Priscilla. She is half dragon, born from a union that shouldn't have produced anything. The gods of Anor Londo couldn't destroy her. She was too powerful, too real, too inconvenient to simply eliminate. So they did something worse. They built her a beautiful prison and told her it was a home. She has learned the dimensions of her cage so completely that she has started to decorate it. She has made the painted world into something livable, something almost lovely. Asuka's performance around Kaji is load-bearing architecture. She has already learned that the world responds better to the performance than to the person. The performance gets results. The performance wins synchronization tests. The performance keeps people at exactly the right distance, close enough to confirm she exists, far enough that they can't see what she actually looks like up close. Kaji got too close. Asuka built something with her own hands starting at age 4. She has been adding to it ever since. Level 3, abandonment. There is a specific kind of grief that has no name. The grief of losing someone who is still in the room, still breathing, still present, still occupying the same physical space, but gone in every way that matters. Asuka Langley Soryu learned this grief before she learned long division. In Dark Souls there was a witch named Izalith. She was one of the most powerful beings in the world, one of the original lords who shaped civilization from nothing. A mother, a teacher, a keeper of flame. When the first flame began to fade, she refused to accept it. She tried to recreate the flame herself using her own soul as the source. It went wrong. The chaos she unleashed consumed her. Asuka kept visiting because she had a theory. If she was exceptional enough, if she achieved enough, proved enough, became undeniable enough, something in her mother would recognize her. The performance would penetrate the absence. The daughter would displace the doll. Asuka refused the absence differently. She filled it with achievement, with a painted world beautiful enough to distract from the hollow at its center. She became so loud that the silence had nowhere to land. She became so exceptional that abandonment looked like a choice she made rather than a wound she carried. It worked. For a while. Level 4, collapse. The hollow doesn't happen all at once. Ariel looks at her and it finds everything she buried in levels 1, 2, and 3, and it projects it back at her in real time. For the first time in her life, Asuka has no move. There is no performance available for this. Ariel is her mirror. In Dark Souls, going hollow is not a dramatic event. You sit down in the dark somewhere and you let the fire go out, and you become one more enemy in a world full of enemies who forgot what they were supposed to be protecting. The tragedy of the hollow is the ordinariness of it. It was always going to happen to almost everyone. Asuka goes hollow in that entry plug. She loses the fight. She loses it completely, humiliatingly, without landing a single meaningful blow. The girl who was always the best. The girl who earned every credential. The girl who built Anor Londo with her bare hands and lived inside the painted world and tended the ruin of her mother and decided at 4 years old that she would never need anything from anyone. She loses, and what follows is silence. Level 5, Rage. After the silence, after the hollow, after everything Arael took from her and everything she couldn't get back, she has nothing left to fight with. She has one thing remaining, the refusal to stay down. This is not courage. Courage requires hope. In Dark Souls, Gwyn was the greatest lord who ever lived. He shaped civilization. He lit the first flame. He held back the age of dark through sheer force of will and power and the absolute refusal to let the world become something he couldn't control. Then the flame began to fade, and rather than face what that meant, rather than sit in the dark and reckon with the end of everything he had built, he threw himself into the fire. He burned away everything he was to keep the light going one more moment. When you find him, he is nothing but cinders. No sovereignty, no wisdom, no lordship. Just a hollow king running on the fumes of a self he already sacrificed. Still swinging, because stopping is the one thing he was never built to do. Asuka is burning. Every movement is a controlled expenditure of the last reserves of something that should already be gone. She is fighting from the memory of strength, from the muscle memory of being someone who always found a way. She tears them apart. Because here is what the fight actually is. It is a girl who was failed by every adult in her life. Her mother, her father, the organization that put her in that machine. Spending the last of herself proving that she was worth something. The rage is all that's left, until the lance comes from above. She has been burning so completely, so totally committed to the forward motion, that she never looked up. Level 6, Grief. Artorias was the only lord willing to enter the abyss, because he understood something the other lords didn't. You cannot fight the dark from outside it, you have to go in. He went in to save something he loved. Asuka has no Artorias. Every person who should have gone into the dark after her chose the door instead. Everyone who looked at her extraordinary exterior and decided the interior was someone else's problems. So she learned to be her own Artorias. She learned to go into her own darkness alone and come back out alone and never let anyone see how long the journey took. Until she couldn't anymore. The abyss doesn't kill you. That's what nobody tells you before you go in. Level 7, Redemption. Asuka was not redeemed by becoming whole. She was not redeemed by recovering what the abyss took. She was not redeemed by becoming the pilot she was in episode 8. The girl on the beach is something else entirely. She has nothing but the small, terrible flame of herself, and she is keeping it lit. Choosing to keep the flame going when you know how much it costs, when you know it will fade again, when you know the abyss is not gone, it is just waiting patient in the way that only things without urgency can be patient. Choosing it anyway. This is what Dark Souls was always about. The small fires you find in the dark between one impossible thing and the next. The moment of sitting down, of letting yourself rest, of accepting that you are not required to be burning at full capacity every moment of your existence. The bonfire was a permission. Permission to be a person who has been through something and is allowed to sit with that before standing up again. Asuka never found a bonfire, not once across 7 levels. She ran past everyone and she went hollow, and she came back, not as the best pilot in the world, just as Asuka.